Now we are struggling in a white man's economy.
So we don't have anything. Well, guys, it's a family talk show. My name is Okila in the studio with Iduwat, Ochom and Patricia Kahill. Iduwat, Ochom, before we go for our next break, I want to ask you a question, okay? So if we fail to have this conversation like Patricia is saying, in the early stages of our courting or the courtship or dating, whatever we call ourselves, if we fail to have that conversation at that point, is it still okay to have that conversation? And at what point do we realize we really need to have this conversation? Is it when you are now 5 years into the marriage, 10 years into the marriage, or is it too late to even have the conversation?
Your final thoughts, Bronny. There's a girl out there watching. She wants to get into basketball. She's really not sure. Or there's a girl out there playing basketball, but she wants to get into modeling. She wants to get into a music career. Really not sure what she should do. What would you say to that girl?
I would say, number one, you will never be sure with what you want to do with life. Life is fluid. Yeah. As soon as you understand that, life is going to be easy for you. So for me, number one, it's God. I have to pray, I have to talk to God, I have to, he's my moral compass. Yeah. Without him, I wouldn't be here. Number two, family. Make sure that you involve your family in everything that you do. Make sure they're working with you. Have a support system around you in whatever you're going to do. And the one thing I always tell people, go for what you want to do. Live, laugh, love. Yeah. Take the risk. If you don't do it, what are you going to lose? If you do it, you'll probably get it or not get it. Yeah. If you don't do it, you're not going to get it. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Yeah. But you have a 50% chance of making the ones that you take. So yeah, just go for it, whatever it is. And yeah, you can reach out to me on my social media. I have people that I've talked to and maybe helped where I can. And I know we can deep dive into the details of what you want to do. Yeah.
What are you doing as Divine Bamboo to bring this out? And what is youth livelihood and entrepreneurship from your perspective as Divine Bamboo?
So again, I would preface that by saying that the work we don't do by ourselves. We have a good team in-house, obviously, but we also have a network of partners. So for example, we are working with UNDP on a youth empowerment project. And some of our activities included training youth in Kamwocha. So we had a training about a month ago where we trained over 200 youth in Kamwocha. And we want to see how we can bring them on board in the value chain of clean energy. And so our ethos is to meet them where they are. So it's not about preaching, you need to use clean energy, you need to not cut trees. but you need to give them alternatives, and then you also need to show them how that works within their current situation. So for example, if we go to somebody making Rolex or making barbecue, we can show them how if they use our bamboo briquettes, they're cleaner, so there's less smoke and soot, so means better health for them, but also they cook longer, so in the end they're able to have a saving. So it has to be practical for your audience and for the customer.
Okila, and in the studio I have Patricia, Kahill, and Iduwat Ochom. How are you doing?
I am okay.
Are you okay?
I am fine. I am fine. I'm very okay.
You are immunized?
Yes, I was immunized.
Are you the class of 1986?
The 1986 grandchildren, yes.
Who survived the death?
We got polio vaccines.
And then you're disrespecting grandpa.
Grandpa needs to go back to his house.
Yeah. Iduwat Ochom.
Yep.
How are you doing?
I'm good, Eddie. How are you?
And how have you been?
Yeah, been good. Usual hustle. You know Kampala, so.
Okay.
Yeah, but all is well.
Ochom, I want to ask you questions. What would you do if you were to turn back to 25?
Interesting. So 25, you're pushing me back close to 10 years ago. What was I doing 10 years ago? I think I just probably doing my back course, I think, and finalizing law school. So 10, if you take me back to 25, what would I be doing? I can't figure out. I don't know if I would have changed much, but I think I would have done pretty much what I did then.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Patricia?
If we take you back 16 years back, 16 years, how old would you be?
Are you trying to figure out my age?
No, just saying, if we take you back 16 years.
Just say you get me back 20 years. I will be in my mom's hands.
This one here we don't accept because this is not a true story.
Okay,
And the gentlemen don't ask about age. I know you're trying to be smart about it, but yeah.
But now, let me see.
Yeah.
16 years ago, I would be what? What would be? Let me see. Campus. Okay. Then I would be the stubborn girl I used to be, being trained around, my mom beating me for destroying village property, and yeah. And I would tell myself, nothing, don't change it, be that person. Because after 16 years, when it goes to around 10 years, you will need the 16-year person to come and rescue you.
So basically, so 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, welcome to the show.
The ice has been broken, and we are going to play a very small video right there.
There's a video up there, gentlemen, if you can play it in the studio, and that video is called Uganda.
All right, and we want to start from that footing of the Uganda. When somebody asks a question, so Uganda in recent times has become,
With the stigma of greed.
Yes.
Greed runs in our family, runs in our corporations, runs in our lives, and everything we do is greed. Can you play that video again from Mark Kahill teaching us something, and he asked questions? That's my honest opinion, his honest opinion. What would be your honest opinion? The video, please.
Uganda for very many years, and I believe Uganda is the place anybody should aspire to live in. We have good weather, we have abundance of food, we have abundance of employment as long as you look out for the right things. But Uganda has been hit in recent times with a stigma of greed, and it shows in everything that we read in the newspapers, it shows on television, it shows even when you're sitting down with people just trying to make ends meet. Everybody wants to bite off a piece that's bigger than what they deserve. That is Uganda's major problem in my eyes. If only we could curb the greed, if only we could share out that pie equally and of course responsibly, then we will be the best country on the planet. In the next 5 years, I really wish and hope that Ugandans can look at the bigger picture, can look at Uganda as a country, can look at their neighbors, their friends, and see that everybody needs equal opportunity. Because in the next 5 years, I don't want people to be calling me up saying, please, can you find me a job? I want people to be calling me up and saying, would you like to come and work with me? That is what I'd like to see. In the next 50 years, I don't want to see my child suffering. I want to see him prosperous. I want to see him with a good wife, with children, with a family of his own, living the dream. That's what I would like to see in Uganda. That's my honest opinion. And I'm Mark Kahill, I'm Ugandan. What do you say?
Welcome back to the show. You have heard what Mark Kahill was saying. In recent times, Uganda is infested, I think that's the right word, with the stigma of greed. It shows in everything we do, even when we are trying to just have a meal, they want to bite off more than they can chew. And you call them for a business deal or business relationship, they want to take more than you have. That same thing happens in our families. And that has taken away love from our families. People don't love each other because we're always fighting and quarreling, and a lot going on. So Patricia Kahill is in the studio together with Iduwat Ochom, and we're going to be discussing something very particular and very specific to family. And because of that stigma of greed, Patricia,
Yes.
is Mark right?
Yes and no. I would say yes and no.
Support your...
My argument.
Yes.
There's a sector of people who are not really greedy and are trying very much to even it out. And then there are the greedy ones, who just temple the ones who are not greedy at all. Like they see you and they look at you and like, yeah, you're just naive, you don't know what you want. So the percentages will not be the same. I would say 95 to the greedy ones. Yeah, we are 95. I would say we are all greedy in a way. And then there's a 5 that is still greedy but doesn't use its greed to get all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ochom,
Yeah.
is Mark right that we are infested with the stigma of greed?
Eddie, I think every human being, our natural inclination is towards self-preservation. If you give me a job as a cleaner in House of Talent, I would want to see myself in 1 year, 2 years progressing to beyond being a cleaner. If I admire how you do your things and I think that you're progressive, I would always aspire to be like you. So you could call it being greed. Sometimes it could be just being smarter and I think it's a thin line really between being ambitious and and being greedy, because the circumstances vary. But of course, I must admit that, I mean, if you're given money to run a ministry of health and then you steal money for people to access ARVs and anti-malarials, I mean, that's really pure greed and it's senseless, it's heartless of a person. But I think most of what we call greed in Uganda, in Kampala, it's basically people just trying to survive, man.
Okay. Yeah. I want to bring this to you, Iduwat, Ochom, and of course, Patricia. The position of women in our family, or in our families, are usually often looked at as not a very good position, because women are said not to have so much to say. Isn't that greed that Mark is talking about already? If we're to borrow from what Mark is saying, we have greed in our families that a man wants to take off everything, and I'm the guy. He goes and buys a plot of land and does not consult a wife. The woman who becomes more powerful starts to do things in a certain way that the man cannot have a say if a woman earns more than a man. But we're not talking about that category of women or of woman. We're talking about the category of men specifically. Do women have a position in our families, first of all, to start with?
Please, men, tell us. Both of them. Please.
Eddie, I think to start with, really, family is a very dynamic entity. It's characterized by various things, including fighting for space to influence decisions within the family, and even just to define what you call a family is organized. So every other day, I think between every couple, there's always that sort of battle for influence. And of course, the dynamics are now getting even more interesting, because in the past, they were like assigned roles that were traditionally known for a man, for a woman, but things have since evolved, and what we used to think was stuff that a man should do. I know of many families that are really headed by women. I could be a product of one of those families. So defining the issue of position of... Is
that intentional or circumstantial?
Well, mine could be circumstantial. My dad passed on when I was 9 years, so really.
So that is
my mom had no choice. Yeah. But even I know families where, husband and wife are there, but for all intents and purposes, the lines have become blurred. You can't easily tell who the father or who the mother is, because the things of provision that was traditionally say reserved for men. They are no. I mean, the Kahills are working every day. What should be doing with her money? To provide for the family.
Our money is ours.
Contribute.
Our money is our money.
Or contribute to the family.
Your money is ours.
So anyway, for me, the point I'm making is that I think as society progresses, it's now difficult to define family values from the lens of roles. Because quite honestly, I know probably male dominance could still be high, but I think increasingly the lines are getting blurred. So to say that, Kahill, this is your corner in the family, A, B, C, D.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a very easy conversation.
I wouldn't fit in that corner.
Yeah, exactly. So even if you try to put Kahill in the corner,
Yeah.
she will spend her entire life fighting to get out of that corner.
Yes.
Yeah. So to answer you directly, I think the position, if you call the position of women in the family, I think overall the position of both men and women has become fluid because of the circumstances under which we live in.
Okay.
So I can't give you a direct answer that this is the corner for women. I think I'll be doing this show a disservice if I give that kind
But
of answer.
culture otherwise speaks that the women have a position naturally, culturally, naturally. They are.
I disagree with naturally, but maybe I'll go with culturally because culture is a social.
It's a social
It's a social construct.
Yes.
You get it. So yeah. So culturally, you can ascribe roles
Yes.
to men, to women, granted, but I think families are now influenced beyond. I mean, at the micro level, husband and wife, they have a level of consent that they can have that I will do this, I'll do A, B, C, D. But then beyond family, there are broader economic and social factors that are shaping the outlook of families today. So as much as culture is one of them, I think increasingly it's not the only factor that is influencing how roles are attributed within a family.
Okay. Yeah. Patricia, you've had the question. Do women have a position in our families?
Yes.
They still do, and if they do, please
we have a
share more from
Tell us your corner.
Tell us your corner.
we have a position. Now, our first position is we are human beings.
Yes.
That is the first position. Second position is
Just like the men, yeah.
yes.
In the family.
We are humans. All of us, even the children, they have a position. We are all humans. That's the first one. Second thing is no one actually gave birth alone. So we are all mother and father. So we are all parents. Yeah. So we are all on the same level. Interestingly, we have good enough. Thank you for us. We have gone to school. So we are educated.
UPE, yeah?
We are UPE, we are UCE, we are, and we even want UUC. So we are going to school, same level. Yeah? So we have given birth to children, same level. We got the same immunization shots. You know what I mean? Same level. So we are
Even
in our
for
home.
COVID.
Even for COVID, we are getting the same.
Are you sure
shots.
even the woman in another period has gotten the same?
No, not the woman. You see that I gave you a description of the woman I'm speaking about.
Yes.
They went to school, they went to UCE, now we went to UEE, even that one, we went, you see, those are the levels, those are the ones I'm talking about.
Okay.
So same level. Our position is at the same level. There's no position in home. Actually, your child has an idea that you don't know that they will speak about. So there's no position. We have to remove the position in our homes if you are going to grow them.
Asan Sekajolo is the boys and men mentor. Coach is also the chairman of Men Engage Africa, outgoing. He's about to finish his term. He's a panelist.
He hands over peacefully.
Yes, I think he's going to hand over peacefully because he's moving a lot. That's why he's not on the show.
Okay.
Hassan, please, Iduwat is saying, hand over peacefully, eh?
We have just seen it in Tanzania.
We're just telling
I
you.
think we have a good
yes,
precedent now.
Yes, but he's a resident panelist on the Family Talk Show, and him and Joshua Mugabe, Pastor Joshua Mugabe, spent time speaking live to families. This topic was designed by Hassan, saying every time they meet with fathers, men, to discuss family affairs, men often think that women in families should remain as wives and don't go beyond that. And they also say that they should remain cooking food, washing clothes, preparing children, giving birth, and doing the other natural extracurricular activity
Just say it.
given
It
by
is
God,
another
which is
show.
recreation and procreation.
Thank you.
Yes. So he says that cannot be something that we should take lightly, because a man can just wake up and go and buy land in some bush somewhere and take the family there, and the woman doesn't have anything to say, and time comes to take kids to school. For her, she looks at the distance between school and home, looks at the shopping centers around there, market, what
Access to health
access to health facilities. This nigga has just taken us and thrown us there. And so I made a decision. We have a home. What more do you want? What do you guys have to say about that decision? And so that's a position that women are supposed to be. I hope you get the context.
I get the context.
Yes. So who wants to dive in first? Do you want? Or Patricia? Yeah.
Eddie, I think I'll first speak as a lawyer.
Yeah.
Because so the law defines how we organize ourselves,
Yes.
and influences every aspect of our lives, including marriage, and clearly defines, rights that each party to a marriage has. And our constitution, which is the supreme law of the land, is very clear. If I'm not mistaken, it should be Article 33 or something like that. Talks about men and women have equal rights before, during, and after marriage.
By the way, we have the constitution. Yeah.
Yeah. We don't want to go
So
into
we don't
that.
bring the constitution. I may not want to hear for you.
I may not have competition. But I think for me the point is that at the global level, at the national level, we have a framework that, at least in principle, provides for equality of men and women in all aspects of society, including but not limited to marriage. So I'll start by saying that whereas what Hassan has picked from the field could be the reality that manifests in our communities, it's actually not what is reflected within our legal framework. And I think probably part of the work that Hassan needs to invest in, and even this show, should be sort of debunking some of these legal concepts and pushing these ideas to come to know that, well, the only difference you have is probably the genitalia. Other than that, and the biological role that you talk about producing. But even then, like Kahill said, it's not only the woman who produces.
Yes.
It's just that
Takes two to...
she just has a lengthy role of carrying it for more months.
She received and received
Interestingly, science also still says you also have it, but yours was hidden in the back end. You see, and mine came in front. I also have yours, and mine was hidden.
We don't know whether that
I don't know which journals she reads. Yeah,
what we know is that it is one.
But I think, but for me, on principle, we all human beings who have the same rights, and we are equal.
Okay.
So I think for me, men and women should have, equal rights in a marriage.
Before Patricia jumped into that, Ochom, you bring a very interesting perspective, given your answer. So, is it okay for a man to go and make a decision to buy a land without consulting the wife?
No, it's not. It's not okay, because then where is the equality that we're talking about? And you see, normally men settle for the easy thing of like, I pull the money. Let's assume that's true. But actually, there's more to setting a family than just having money. You could be interested in that area because maybe it's good for agricultural production, which is good for food security. A family needs food. But again, there's more to a family than also just food. If you can't access education services easily or health facilities, then I think you may want to have a more conversation and explore ideas with your partner to agree on what could be the best deal for the family. Because remember, when you talk about a family, and in the traditional sense of husband, wife, and children, even if you're to focus on the children, the law even pushes for what they call the welfare principle. To what extent do this uphold the welfare of the children? So, and welfare is wholesome. It's not just only food. There's more to welfare, including just psychological, welfare. So I think really having more conversations as a family could be more helpful and coming to a common decision on where or what to invest or acquire.
Okay.
Would be the way to go.
Well, if you're joining us, this is the Family Talk Show. My name is Eddie Okila, Patricia Kahill, Iduwat Ochom. We're talking about the position of women in the family, and we're going to go into a break just after Patricia. We can't go for a break before Patricia gives us. That would be an abomination. Already we would have decided the position itself.
that men come first.
That men come first, yes. But we're talking about the position of women in our families. This topic is quite very complex, to say the least. Patricia.
When you say the man goes and buys land and makes a decision to buy land without even consulting his wife, you said actually you didn't say man, you said husband and wife. You see, when husband and wife, they become what?
One.
So why make a decision alone when you're supposed to be one?
Because I'm the one who's working hard.
And man left his family and went and joined with his wife, and they became
one.
So why is the decision of the other only a half? Because that decision is a half.
I'm the provider of the family.
Let's go back. Man left home and went and joined with his wife, and they became one. That means every decision that is supposed to be made has to be made by the one. The other, this half became one. So, Madam, I'm going to buy land. Hey, you're buying where? In Chitugum. No, sir. We are not going to Chitugum. Why? Everyone present your things on the table. The problem is, when you have that. I'm the head. I am going to.
But the position is given to us by the holy books. We didn't decide.
The position that was given to you was to lead, not to like really head, like head. You get? Because if you're supposed to be the head, they wouldn't have given you a neck. They would have given you head and body, no neck. Because this neck is one that tells you to go this way. You now just had your head and looked there and walked in one direction. Then it was like, you need a neck. And this neck is supposed to show you, you should turn the other side. There's a problem this side. You get? So that is the woman's, what is supposed to be the woman's. You get? So you're supposed to forget about your head and start leading. When you bring the leadership into the what you would call the position of you being a husband, you forget about that I am head. But I'm supposed to gather everyone in because this is a collective thing. We're supposed to work together to build the family, to build the home, to nurture the children, to grow the country, to grow the community. But if there's someone who thinks I am above and the rest are just below me, there's never going to be any equal growth, any prosperity, any new Uganda. It will never happen because there's someone who believes I am above. But if you bring in everyone in, and actually it begins from home. If you think your wife cannot be on the same table like you have to sit up and she sits on a mat, I promise you that family will not grow. Because all your decisions are going to be above here and Madam, that's what you're going to be thinking in your mind. But if you sit here like here together, you've given me the same, actually it's the same thing we've been talking about here. Equity. Give me the same level of opportunity until I tell you, what, Eddie, on that land thing, I don't know things to do with land, but I think you should consult someone who knows. Me, I don't know. That means you gave me an opportunity to express myself in what you're going to purchase. But you come home and say, I bought here. I even finished building. Hey.
Yeah, because Elao and Ochom are friends, they own the law firm together. So Elao decided to go to Mavera Forest and
and have your homes together.
Ours is a business, not a family. That's what you should understand.
I'm saying that.
But now you put the land for the family. You see? So
I'm the head. You said I lead, that's why I'm led.
You've not led. You've head.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, guys, we're going to go for a small break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about love. But before we talk about love, we want to conclude on that position of women in our families. And Patricia is very nicely giving us this context. But there's a catch-22 we are coming back, and I think Ochom is going to have a ball on this one. Your salary is ours. My salary is mine. Let's go for break. We'll be right back. This is the Family Talk Show. Welcome back to the show. My name is Okila, and this is the Family Talk Show. We are live from Kampala, the capital city of Uganda, to the rest of the world. I must have you know that Uganda is the Pearl of Africa. If you haven't yet visited Kampala or you haven't yet visited Uganda, please do. And we have very good food. We have very good family values. We are better than some of the families abroad and in other countries. We are still better. And then the studio is Iduwat, Ochom, and we'll talk about the position of women in our families. Guys, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you for the likes of Charity Namara who are really watching, and many of you. We want to encourage you to send us your kisses and disses. Please, if you think Patricia is not making sense, please kiss or diss. If you think Okila is not being honest enough, please send us. But if you think Iduwat Ochom is saying sense, please say kudos. And we want to know from you if this topic, how is it going, by the way, in your family, first of all? Is it going well? Patricia, before we went for a break, you were giving us a very interesting background.
Yes.
From your side of the lady staff on that question of position of women in our families. Now, there is, you said we two become one.
Yes.
And we are one.
Yes.
Why is it then, when it comes to salary, my salary is ours, your salary is yours, but we are one?
But we are one.
Yes, how does that work with the Ochom? Is that a double standard from a lawyer perspective?
It is double standards, but I'll be happy to hear from the...
Why do you pass it? Why do you pass it to Patricia? You're leaving the thing to Patricia.
I would love to hear from Patricia first.
Yes.
Yeah, and just to get it, yeah.
It is actually wrong. Very
okay.
wrong.
Okay.
You can't be preaching on the other side that we are one, and then be on the same side who is not being honest about the things. You know, that particular hide streams from being honest. The honesty in a relationship, when you started seeing each other, how did you groom your honesty? How did you groom each other to be free with each other to the extent that now you have children, you have grown into understanding the maturity of the relationship has grown to maybe even having grandchildren. How did you nurture that to that extent? Because the first thing that, I'll give an example. My great-grandmother used to say, if the first one you see the first time, the first thing that you install in them is what they will go with about you. So you have to give someone the first impression that they can build on, becomes the foundation. So how did you found your money matters in the relationship when you're courting? Because if you didn't speak about money when you're courting, and now you are married, and you're bringing it on the table,
you were broke.
You were even then you mentioned that you know.
There was no income to talk about.
Guys, that means, now if you're saying it in that way, there was no income to talk about. That means you didn't have a plan. You didn't mention about your future plans. That's what I'm trying to show you. If it begins from honesty, you have to be honest and say, I don't have a job. So I stay with my brother. Or I still stay home. The transport that brought me here, I borrowed.
But to us men, that is not a good thing if you say I stay with my brother and I don't have a job, because it means a sign of weakness.
Eddie,
on your side, you can't catch that bad.
It is not like every day you're going to stay in the same position you were in yesterday. Every day, if you're a man that is believing to grow a family, to nurture and grow someone and grow a community, be a leader, be a head, you have a plan. If you want to get someone's daughter and marry them and have children with them, you have a plan. You're not just playing around. Let's go back to the real basics. No. If you have a process that you're working in at this age, I want to get my girlfriend, I want to get to a level. You have to plan. That's why I said it's supposed to be a leader thing, not a head thing. Some people move with their head and not a leader, and there are two heads, so it becomes hard. But lead. I'm quoting you. I am broke. At this moment, I am broke. Tomorrow, I don't know what is going to happen. Tomorrow, when I bring in the money and I said, yes, I got our money from this side. Yes, you're broke, but me, I'm working. I can help you with this. Then we can grow together. But remember, all that streams with first, honesty. I am dating you because I see a future. So because you see a future with me, you're going to grow together.
What if the future you see is that I will be like Ochom, I finish my law degree, there's a possibility, the prospects are very high that Ochom will finish as a lawyer and will get money very quickly. So me, I position myself knowing this guy will be successful. Then I don't date Okila because I know Okila, this one is studying marketing and they're not straightforward like Ochom. And so I'm a target worker, so I know this thing, yes.
That is the other thing also, character. Who are you? You go back to who are
me
you?
Me or you? Woman, man.
Me, the woman you're saying that is going to dump you.
But even the men now
don't know who they are.
No, they strategize.
They strategize like that.
Kahill has potential.
I have potential. I am going there. I know. So, who are you? Because even when you strategize on that, it always backfires. We've seen them backfire. All of them backfire. Down because you had a motive, it didn't work through. So now your plan is all down. You didn't have another plan. You see. But if your plan was a straightforward plan, you know, madam, I'm here for 2 months, so just I go. You see. But madam, I'm here to the end, to the grave. So we are going to build this together until the grave. That plan needs to go through. As a leader, it has to go through. So when we come back to the money point, why do we have to say it is my money and it is you are the head? First and foremost, there's no honesty there and then, because there was no nurtured honesty, there was no nurtured faithfulness, there was no nurtured commitment to the whole thing.
First pause there. We need to call all the men out there because the women have spoken. You said what? Repeat that one. All the men out there, please clap for this one because I think our emancipation, the true emancipation is beginning to come.
No, that is the truth.
Yes.
You both did not nurture honesty.
Okay.
You both did not nurture trust in each other. You did not nurture faithfulness. That when I look at Okila right now, and the way he looks right now, he doesn't have money. So I'll give him a 10K. And when you do that, does Okila take advantage to look like that so that he can be taking a 10K from you? Or he will be like, thank you for the 10K you gave me last time. I did this and now I look this.
Yes.
You see what I mean?
Now it is 50K.
Now it is 50K. I can even now give you some 20 on the 10K because I made 50K.
Yes.
Now that is a natural, like, I'm going to give him 10, he makes 50. So now it's the same thing. Now when you give me that 20 from the 50 you got, what do I use that 20? Okay, now we didn't have food, the 20 you gave me, I did this. Oh, nice. But now he has balance of 5K. To nurture another 25 on the what?
Yes.
On the 50 you got.
Yes. That
That is nurturing, growing together. Because you understand each other, there's a chemistry that works there. If you do not nurture that, I promise we will hide the money. Because when I gave Okila my 1 million, Okila disappeared and even went to the bank and removed the other 30 million because he understood I get more money. Now he has disappeared on me. He doesn't want to speak to me. He is feeling the head. I am the head of this house. But he stole from me. That is stealing.
Iduwat Ochom.
Yeah.
The ball has been set rolling for you. You said you wanted Patricia to first speak. Now it is your turn.
Yeah.
Our salary, your salary is ours. My salary is mine. But we're talking about position of women in our families. And Patricia said, the moment we come together as husband and wife and we become one, we are one. So everything is one. So there's no position, there's no corner X and corner Y. We are in the center. We're in the middle. First of all, do you agree with that? You know you're
yeah. by and large, I associate with Patricia's insights. Oh, that's the name of your company.
Yeah. Thank you for giving me Kalango insights.
Eddie, I think my personal take really is that families, just like nations, are built on shared values, or should be built on shared values, and it's those shared values that sort of influence our aspirations as a family, as a couple, and where sort of you fail to agree or set minimum standards, that's when people start being shady, like trying to look for every opportunity to pick from one source, pick from one side and the other side, lives there. But if, for example, you know that, okay, what's our target for the year? Or we want to go back to school, or postgraduate training, want to buy property or things like that, it's easier for each of you to be comfortable to make their money available because we are planning to get a BCD, planning to take the kids to school, take them for a holiday, or buy land, or buy whatever. But that starts only if you're sharing this vision that you have for your family and for yourselves. So the challenge you've always had is that somebody wants to go to school because she fears this guy is shady. I need to put my things in order so that in case he throws me out, I'm somewhere. My future is secure. Yeah. But if you've sort of put in that spirit of sharing, of agreeing on what values define your relationship, what are your aspirations as a family, it makes it easier because then you know that so for us to do ABCD, we need this number of millions. So okay, I'll do 200 every month, 500, 1 billion, whatever it is. So you become easy with the money. It doesn't actually become a problem because even before it hits your account, there's already a plan that this is what we want to do. So before her money hits her account, she's thinking of, okay, I need to make a contribution towards this. But then I think most families, we don't even have this conversation with our spouses. Everybody is on their own. So really, if I have the impression that it's easier to get from Eddie all the time, mine will always be hidden, and I'll be like, hey, boss, fuel, my car is running. And then it becomes like that year in, year out, and
So do you think that conversation should be had in our families? Do you think we should have that conversation between that conversation between man and woman should happen.
Yeah.
Salary, your salary, my salary, our salary.
Again, for me,
start the conversation when you have grandchildren.
So we want to know. So at what point do we start this conversation, really, guys?
I think from courtship, as Patricia was even saying.
It's a foundation. It's a foundation topic.
Okay.
When you're asking the guy but where is this headed? This relationship of us, where is it headed? When the guy says to marriage, then if it's to marriage, where are we going to build our house? How many children are we going to have? How much money are we going to save? How much money are we going? You see, those are the questions that need to be asked there.
But Patricia, you need to know that some of those questions you are saying we should ask and involve and indulge ourselves into can be a very scary path for men. When you start those things, where are we going to build her? This one, yeah.
Then you're not ready. Then you're not ready. You're not ready for that.
Because some people are not married up to now. They're still dating 7 years, 10 years.
They are not ready for the responsibilities that are supposed to be put in place, all the structures, all the functionalities that need to be worked in a family. Because if you're not ready, then those questions will scare you. You will run because in your mind you have never even thought about them. When they ask you, where are we going to build? What is the aspiration line of the house you want? House. But you have an aspiration.
At least a dream.
At least have a dream. Like you see a house in I want that kind of house.
You are throwing a stone on some glass house. Some guy watching this show is also
which car are we going to buy? Are we ever going to have a car?
Yes.
The guy is looking at me. I was thinking of having a bicycle. Okay, a bicycle, but we can also have a car, right? We will think about it. Let's begin with a bicycle. You see, conversation starts like that, and then you ask him to show him why we need to progress from a bicycle to a car. I'll give an example. My counselor, when I was getting married, told me something that was interesting.
Why are you doing this when I was getting married?
Pastor David was more interested in telling you, he nurtured a story that was nice. He said when he started out with his wife now, we will now have grandchildren, his first conversation was went to point blank and told her, Madam, I have one pair of shoes, I have 2 trousers, I have this, but my future looks like this. I'm going to be a pastor, I will lead these kind of churches, I have this calling on my head. Right now I have a chigari, I'm selling tomatoes, but now by this end, the next year I'll have a bicycle. And the man, I'm like, and this beautiful woman said what? And she said, okay, come back when you have a bicycle. And he went back when he had a bicycle.
He bought a bicycle and went back for his date?
Yes.
Okay.
You see, that is a progressive man who knows I want her and I'm going to work to make sure that I get that person.
Yeah.
What has happened now, men, I'm sorry, you've become lazy. They used to tell us men are hunters. They go and hunt and drink. You hunt in your hands.
There are no more girls.
There are no more girls.
Look at the forest. The only one that get themselves
Now we are struggling the white man company.
So we don't have anything. Well, guys, it's a family talk show. My name is Okila in the studio with Ochom and Patricia Kahill. Ochom, before we go for our next break, I want to ask you a question, okay? So if we fail to have this conversation like Patricia is saying, in the early stages of our courting or the courtship or dating, whatever we call ourselves, if we fail to have that conversation at that point, is it still okay to have that conversation? And at what point do we realize we really need to have this conversation? Is it when you are now 5 years into the marriage, 10 years into the marriage, or is it too late to even have the conversation?
No, I think there's no definite timeline. Each case could be dependent on its own facts and situation. But I think what's not debatable is that if your relationship with your marriage or your family is to progress to a level better than where you're at, you need to have the conversation. Yeah, so you could have it with grandkids, as she said. It's just that then you're taking off at a way later stage when you're about to.
But they say men start to become serious at 45.
I don't know which men.
That's what they said, and they said for our brothers from Musoga is about 40, about 50, 60. So
we will not perpetrate those sentiments here. I think this is a more serious show. We can't be quoting those.
But jokes aside, yes.
Yeah, but so for me, Of course, the earlier the better, but again, it's never too late. Once you realize that a mistake happened 20 years ago when we met, we should have had this conversation, you can always have it and try to redeem what's left, of your time together.
Well, thank you very much, guys. But I want to just, before we go on to the break and actually come back and read some comments from here, our topic today is going to close the show with love must be celebrated. Love demands celebration constantly. Because we're talking about the position of woman, we've come together as a man and wife because we're in love. We were dating because we're in love. We did this thing because we're in love, not so? So we've discussed the position now. With all of these things, if this position is not put in place, can we continue to love each other? Because love demands constant celebration. Yes, when you're in love, salaries are a problem. Your salary, my salary can cause problems, and the love in the family may not be able to exist. And yet, for us to continue moving forward and build this family, Pastor Joshua Mugabe says we must constantly be in love and celebrate love.
My question is,
yes,
what is love?
The things that drove you to that guy, that made you run to that guy.
The butterflies.
The butterflies.
Because people confuse the butterflies, the fear that butterflies give you, the terrifying fears that butterfly gives you to be love. That scare that you get when you see the guy and you're like, you call it love. What if it is just a real scare that you're supposed to be running away from that guy, really?
But you joined together. You came together. You are now one.
Now we're telling people that love is that thing. But what if it is not the one?
Well, Iduwat Ochom is married. So how do love? We've just been talking about the position of women in the family.
But now tell me about love.
How did we get to this point?
How did you get to the point of getting married? What is love?
We were in love.
What is
we met together, we felt each other, we said we are going to become husband and wife. We want to live in the same space, same house, same thing, do life together, move together, walk, buy land together, do all these things, make children, raise children, do these things together. That's love.
That is love.
The fruit of love are the children.
Thank you. Okay. What is love to you?
Pardon?
What is love? What is love? Because you see, what I'm trying to show you is love actually differs. So what is love?
Again, I don't think there's a standard, answer for. Except for the dictionary meaning, I don't think there's in real life, I don't think there's a standard definition of love. But I think when you meet a person, that you like, that you're comfortable with, you think you can, share space together, you can dream together, pursue ideas together. Yeah, that could be love.
You see, it differs in very many ways. So when we're actually talking about what to celebrate continuously, we're supposed to break down what love means to us to celebrate that. Some people actually may tell you, I love that person, but I don't want to be near them. So I will celebrate from them, they are that side. Like, you be those.
No, but we're talking about love in our families, not love anywhere. Eh? We're talking about love in our families.
Love in our families, where people have two homes.
Hey, you mean love is one?
I'm saying where
guys,
we're in different locations for celebration.
We're going to go for a break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about love must be celebrated and love demands constant celebration. Stay right there, we'll be right back. This is a family talk show.
Because you guys, if you say.
Welcome back. This is the Family Talk Show. My name is Okila, and in the studio is Patricia Kahill and Iduwat Ochom. We're talking about love. We're talking about family. We're talking about position of women in our family. Guys, just before we went for a break, we received some really interesting comments from you, and thank you very much everybody for sending your kisses and disses. Please keep them coming. We'd like to hear from you. I will start with Joeria. Nacho Yune said we are here watching. Thank you very much, Joeria. And Dr. Jemima Okwi, who is a substantive resident panelist representing women on this show, I said the problem of your money is our money and my money is my money is fundamentally a trust issue. Address the reason for lack of trust and solve it.
Yeah.
So Dr. Jemima, okay, kudos right there. So I think you are okay with Dr. Jemima.
I agree.
And Ochom is there's a for Mazia, 10 out of 10, Dr. Jemima. Thank you very much. And Joelia Nacha says, men nowadays are coming for money only.
Truth.
I think we are being sold at this point. If you're a man,
Joelia is a lawyer. She can't afford to make such sweeping statements.
So you're gonna have to tell Joelia. Maybe she has some bueno. She needs to share something. Joelia, please share some bueno so that we can share. And then Aldo Moro is saying it's our salary and our salary for him. And he goes on to say a conversation is always welcome at any stage. So again, if you miss that conversation, please go back to it. That's what we're saying here, so that you can continue to have love in your family flourishing. All right, although we're having a problem right now about the issue of love in the studio. Dr. Jemima Okwe is saying it's never too late to make your marriage better, only except when you give up on it or quit. Yes, so again, it's re-emphasizing our point here that please have that conversation and make sure it's always happening. I think Asan Sekajolo, these people are representing you really well, and Pastor Joshua Mugabe. Joelia Natayuna said, thank you, Iduwat Ochom. It's never too late to redeem what is left out of that marriage.
True.
Wow. All right, I want to go to Aldo Moro, who says, Ochom, he's playing safe. Man is too academic. Let loose on the Bukedia man. Okay, and I see.
We shall invite Aldo here one day. We should invite him one day here.
Yes, and please, Aldo Moro, the one has already given you an invitation to come here on this fire place. And Francis Birunji says that enjoying the show, interesting guest with strong insights right there. Thank you very much, guys, for sharing with us your love and kisses and disses. Please make it a point to always send your kisses and disses so that we can share your thoughts on the show. We're of course building that capacity to be able to bring some of you on the screen from wherever you are and share it live on air. Now, our time is fast spent. We're going to the next part of the show, which is very dangerous. Patricia has already said some courses saying love this, love that, love that. But we all know that the moment you get attracted to that man as a woman or as a girl, let's start from as a girl, and you get attracted to that boy, either as a boy or as a man, to that girl, that connecting thing is what we are calling love, That attraction between the two, opposite sex is what we are calling love. This one of Adam and Adam, we don't understand. What we know is Adam and Eve. Okay, at least that one we understand here very well. But it's another conversation altogether. We won't get into it.
Yeah.
I want to put the topic up there, team, on the screen, and we want everybody to participate in this last bit of the show. Love must be celebrated, we're saying here. Love demands active celebration. Active means that regardless of what we have gone through, we are staying focused. That's what everybody is saying. And we're saying that on our series of building family value systems, if the family doesn't have a value system, they cannot continue to celebrate some of these things. What you've just been telling us here, Patricia, is that we must have a value system. That it must be set from the beginning, if I understood. Isn't that what you were saying, Ochom? Now, let's get to this. How do we celebrate our loved ones, husband and wife, when we are not agreeing on your money, my money?
You can't celebrate you if there's no agreement.
Yes.
Two cannot work together if you don't agree. So how are you going to celebrate love? That means two people working together. One is sleeping, looking the other side of the line, and another is looking the other side, and there's a pillows in here, and like, how are you going to celebrate love? So you can't celebrate love if you're not moving together. Get out of the bed, go on the table, and be like, Naomi, there's a problem. What happened? Why are we like this? Why is the house so quiet when it's supposed to be loud? Why is it so loud when it's supposed to be quiet? You find a nurturing position that needs to grow it back again.
Okay.
One of the things that, as I said, do you remember actually the foundations of your relationship? Because most people tend to forget them.
Why do they tend to forget them?
Because then they were not real foundation points. They were just, there's a time clock of, at 35 I'm supposed to get married. So 35 is now done. I'm 36, I'm married, 38, yeah, I'm married. There's a nice young man here. So there is no real, people didn't set any grounds of at this statutory time we are going to be doing this. After 1 year we're celebrating this. After 2 years we're celebrating that. On your birthday we do this. On your mom's birthdays we do that. On the children's birthday they are not set things. As I said earlier, it's supposed to lead, not head. So you're supposed to lead. Where is the leading ground that says your family is set up like this? My great-grandmother said something also interesting, rest in peace. She used to say, there has to be a family constitution.
Mm-hmm.
Where is your family constitution?
I'm a lawyer. I can always draft for you. At a fee.
Do you have one for your?
Do you have one for your family?
Do you have a family
That's a discussion for another day. I can make one for you.
And actually, in her mind, when she was asking this thing, she was asking my cousin, my then uncle cousin, I call her uncle cousin, because they had an issue in our family. And me listening in as a young child, I was like, family constitution. Now we have a government constitution. But growing up now, I understand what she meant with a constitution. Then the constitution is, on this day we got married, on this day, on this day I saw you. I'm supposed to celebrate the day I saw you, because that day changed my life. On this other day, I did this, we went out and we did this. It's significant to me because of that. What about you? What do you have in your books that is significant?
Your Google calendar should be very full because
if you're going to celebrate,
Women, they give everything.
if you're going to celebrate love, there's going to be those sparkles that your mind will never ever forget because they led you somewhere, they changed something in you, and those are the things you're going to celebrate.
Okay.
So you have to keep them intact. You have to share them and say, you know, when you did that card on the other side, my heart just went, can you redo it? We go out and I just go in. Those are the things. You know, like a dress I bought for you, you may not like it, but me, when I see you in that dress, it makes me,
So you have just given us the point of active, because put it up there, I think Patricia has hit one point which is very clear, which is that demands active celebration. So that, would you qualify that as a point of active celebration?
I say family is like running a business.
okay.
You have to have objectives, you have to have themes, you have to have goals, you have to have targets.
Okay.
Because if you don't have that, you're not leading. Someone else is leading. Pastor Mukisa says, if you're not writing your story, someone else is writing it for you.
True.
So if you're not leading yourself, someone else is actually leading you.
Okay.
So even in your family, who is leading? It's not heading. We threw away heading. Who is leading? Is it TV that is leading? Is it your boys that are leading? Is it your workplace that is leading?
Yeah.
Are you leading?
Yeah.
And it's not just for men, it's also for women. Who is leading in your home? Is it the maid? Are the children leading you? Is your work leading? Because if it is not leading, it will show. You will not have those memories of, it's his birthday. You remember after 4 days, it was his birthday. And then what? There's no celebration of love because it was not a constant in your mind.
But what happened when Iduwat Ochom, for example, was never celebrated? He grew up as a man, or Okila grew up as a man, and the concept of birthday celebration did not exist because the father was busy doing something else. So I never celebrated, for example. That's a fact for me, really.
There is something.
The man was hiding from political pressure.
There is something that you celebrate. There is something that you
organizing other birthdays for other people.
There is something that you have in you that you celebrate.
Okay.
That is what you put on the table. Remember, trust and openness. I don't celebrate birthdays, but to me this is more important. I rather celebrate this.
Okay.
That is what you put out and we celebrate that day. What other thing interests you? I love volleyball. Okay, how do I support you in volleyball? Because then I'll be celebrating your passion. The other thing would be your dress code. What do you like? Me, I like putting my ties and stuff. Then I'll look out for nice bow ties and celebrating your style. I like going to the gym. Then I'll get you barbells because I'm celebrating your health. You get? So you're supposed to understand a person to that depth that their celebration may not blow parties, put up all these, call people to come in. You're celebrating. No. It doesn't have to go to that extreme. Yes, you can have it if you can, and your person actually understands that kind of celebration. But if not, those small things are celebrations.
Pastor Joshua Mugabe has surely cheated exams here for us, Ochom, because some of his thoughts. Ochom, you've heard from Patricia. How do we, please put it up there, love must be celebrated, all right? And love demands a very active celebration point. We're talking about on our series of, building family value systems. What's your thought?
I think we started this segment by first agreeing that there's no standard definition of love.
Yes.
So I think in the same vein, there's no standard way of celebrating love. Each situation is unique and has its own, characteristics that will influence how it is, how you'll celebrate it. I mean, my wife. Any day you invite her to eat out, like she'll be on board. That, she likes being taken out like she feels you're giving her the attention that, she deserves. She works hard, gets some credit. Sometimes you're like, before you go home, let's meet up somewhere and take coffee at Endiro or wherever. Those things make her feel good, make her feel celebrated. Again, they vary. There are people who like, being bought for expensive gifts, or even just let's say gifts. And I think there are also very many other, non-financial ways of actually celebrating yourselves. I think the biggest problem has been that many people think, that celebrating means you, like Kahill said, it's not about big balloons and inviting, delegates. It could be just the two of you having a conversation. Every other day, wake up Monday, tomorrow is Monday, you're going to start running up and down until Friday. You'd never even get a chance to pause and sit with your wife and, just have a conversation about how was your week. You don't even have to talk about work. So some of those things look small, but they could actually be, part of the way you're building memories, you're appreciating yourselves, and in a way you're actually celebrating your love, your relationship. So I think really there's no standard way around it. It's just that you need to understand yourselves, understand your partner, and see what works for them, what doesn't work for them. Yeah, and things will keep rolling.
How do we keep its active demand running, fire burning? Fire burning, because you can burn out, for example, if desire is taking her out every day is okay.
It's not every day.
Yes, or every other day. I'm just giving an example. Because some people, I had a man who wrote today when he says, this topic is really good because, man, some church where my wife goes to say there must be celebration in our family. So my wife believes that the celebration every day we're out. So it says now our budget is disorganized because we are doing this. It says I'm tired of these things. I don't know how I want to write to the pastor and say you've caused problems in my home than good because now it's disorganizing everything. So there's also a chance of
Can I just correct that one?
Yes.
The pastor didn't disorganize the home.
The sister took it another level.
No.
Yes.
The leader, the home.
Kahill.
Hey!
We can't be responsible for all
You see, the guy is complaining because he has failed to lead. He needs to get back to his team and tell the teammate, you know what, our budget is going down on this celebration. Instead of complaining to you, why isn't he going to his team? Let him go to his team and
I've seen how you want to show us also get this thing that guy. Here's a job. We're blamed for everything that happened.
I mean, Kahill, I think you're
come back to your team.
a little bit unfair, really.
No. For her, she believes in her mind, she's thinking, oh my, he has taken it in, he's doing it. The guy is in the back end saying, I am dying.
But again, it comes back to the point that I raised on about shared values.
Thank you.
If you're having these conversations, you'll just understand that, that's not tenable. Okay, let's assume the man is not even the problem. But you have the time every day to go out.
But if she does?
Just look at it, the reality. Yes, she could have. Do you have?
Who?
Because she's not going out alone. She's going with you.
Thank you. So that's what I'm
for
saying.
Example, Eddie, will you have time to go out every day?
Yes.
Man is not the issue here.
Yeah.
Time alone.
So Eddie has to tell
her.
there's
just...
But when you tell her and you don't do it, you are saying that you are being insensitive to my feelings.
Or you're being smart. You are being...
No. Now we are going to communication in a relationship. But if you do not know how to communicate and pass the actual topic or the actual idea that you want to pass on to your partner, then you're also failing there in loving. Because if you're going to fail at fulfilling this thing that I'm asking for, and you're also failing to communicate that you're going to fail, you see, you have now two double fails. So you're continuously going to fail at other things continuously because there is an original fail that you failed to do what?
Yes.
To communicate.
But But Ochom, like you said, men have suffered. We're blamed for everything. Even the smallest thing we're blamed for. But anyway, guys, our time is fast spent. We want to just read some of the comments here. Aldo Moro says, love is meant to be celebrated, nothing else. How you celebrate it is up to you. In my household, we have a Saturday sitting of the Ajono grilled meat, and the movies on the projector in the compound, or occasional Sunday day out when I am away from home over the weekend. So he has a model of celebrating. Thank you very much, Aldo Moro. I hope men can pick from you.
No, not only men, men and women
can pick from you.
Yeah.
I want Patricia to read the next one. Birunji, please have the next one so we can. That's a comment from
Francesca Bilunji says, parents have a role to play. Children watch how we manage these issues and can carry it over to their families. When a child sees mommy and daddy bringing Kavera from work or contributing and working together, they learn truth. If they see mommy hustling alone, paying fees, buying food, clothes, VD, paying bills at dinner, there will be men that sit back and wait for their wives to struggle alone, which risks breaking their marriages. Thank you, my dear. And kids watch how we do things and we know how we manage. And no, kids watch how we do things and can know how we manage finances. This is very true, actually. Very true, Bilunji. That is one of the things that is distorting our community and society at the moment. There was a break somewhere. I believe there was a break where there were no leads. Me, I removed the heads to leads. There were no leads in homes, and moms took over. When moms took over, the children, the sons did not leave also when the heads left. So the sons and the moms stayed together, and the daughters were all together. But there's a lady. This is a lady who is feminine in build. She's not masculine built. What she knows is feminine. So she impacted the feminine, almost everything,
genes on
the boy child.
Yeah.
The boy grew up seeing mommy doing all these things. And then there's an issue that she did not find mentors or men mentors to pour into her sons. So the sons learned everything from mommy. So when the son gets to get married, finds a chick who is hustler like Kahill. Kahill can do everything like Kahill will do everything. Yet Kahill comes from a home where there's mommy, daddy, and daddy does this, mommy does this. They sit together, they talk. You call the guy to sit, the guy looks at you and is like, me, I don't know what you're talking about. You finish and do. That is going to break.
Yeah.
So we need to find a place where we have to heal that wound that was done at that point when it broke.
Wow. Do you want to Chom your party?
I disagree to some extent, really. Patricia.
You got me.
I don't buy this whole notion of, leadership that like a man was born with an inbuilt app and DNA.
No.
Hold on. No, it's the impression. That you are born with this inbuilt app for providing leadership. I think.
Continue.
No, that's the notion that you're pushing.
Continue though, but it is not.
I disagree sort of with that thinking because
you disagree with the head, not the lead.
Because one, like I said at the start, each situation is totally different. If you share values, if you have a common understanding of things, it's very natural to know that on this one, Patricia will do X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
On this one, Ochom will do X, Y, Z. I believe more in building consensus than elevating one person to sort of have an upper hand and be like, so he's the head, he's the leader. I know you're trying to make a decision between leading and heading, but there's a thin line, and we risk confusing people if we don't sort of split it up and say, so this is leading,
going
this
back
is
to
heading.
critical thinking.
So for me,
So we're going to take a break. We're going to go back in the show, and come up with a discussion on leading.
So for me, I think each family should just have its own model. Let's just avoid the temple life. In every family, the man should. Some men are so laid back, and when the wife takes charge of things, things work.
Yeah.
We should harness that, other than forcing this guy to be at the echelon of
agree
things.
very well.
When probably
Very much.
It
not
doesn't
let me
even
speak
have
like
the
him locally. Maybe it's not his calling.
Yes.
I hope Pastor will forgive me for my views on this.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think we should just give.
What can the men do, okay, to promote women's sports or basketball for that matter?
Yes, so today morning, someone told me, he made research, actually my brother, that these days the NBA actually facilitates the WNBA games to see that they're also somewhere. How about the NBL men starts doing something, not totally like investing in and all that, but it can be with the support system. It can be one very good thing, seeing that creating more opportunities for these ladies, putting up different games like, so as like women can be like seen or showing that these guys also like care. It can start with support, and then with time they can also like recommend whoever facilitates them to like partially have his thoughts somewhere on the women's team, so that like they can all go about like together, in solidarity. I think that can work. I don't think it's something big. It can start with support and then financially with time.